RugbyHub viewers, and welcome back. Yes, it is probably the most significant weekend of Six Nations rugby for this year at least. Gabsy, how are you doing? You're at that game, Wales game. How was Cardiff?
Very, yeah, Cardiff, what a place to be. Can
Mm,
definitely recommend it to anyone. What a vibe. And obviously, the Welsh really brought the heat in that game.
yeah,
There's some arguments that they could have won that game if Gary Ringrose got a proper red card and Aki didn't come on. But yeah, Aki really changed things around for Ireland. I genuinely don't think actually there was a way that Ireland would not win that game.
mm,
But yeah, what a weekend of rugby it was. It feels like, yeah, quite some time ago now, but maybe just the headlines again from last week. Obviously, England steals the Calcutta Cup, apparently back where it belongs. Italy comes out strong, but unfortunately, France then kind of, there's no other way to say this, annihilate them in that second half. And yeah, obviously a much improved Wales side put up a fight against Ireland. But
mm.
Guri, let's not waste time. There's so much to talk about this week. Obviously, it's important to keep in the back of our minds. The Lions tour is coming up down in Australia, and I think there's a lot of headaches for Mr. Farrell. A
In
lot
terms
of
of
players putting their
selection,
hands up in terms of selection.
yeah.
And first game of the weekend, we've got Ireland hosting France at the Aviva, my friend. That's going to be probably a tournament decider, eh?
Most likely a tournament decider indeed. And what a hell of a game it is going to be. France went down to Ireland last year in the Six Nations in Marseille in a pretty poor performance, and actually a poor Six Nations by France, if you don't remember. But this year, much different. They just hammered Italy. We were so hoping Italy would put up a good performance against such a strong side, but France just showing the class that they are, and now they're going to come up against a formidable opponent, which is Ireland. We don't know the teams yet, Gabsy, but what do you expect for a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, from a French point of view, it's going to be quite interesting, right? Because obviously last week they were without the likes of Jalabert and Penau. Again,
Mm,
questioning if there's something to do with those two players not playing together. They played Ramos at 10. He had a really good game, but I believe Ntamak is also available for selection again this week. Do they go and field the same team that hammered Italy, or do they mix things up? As obviously they're probably not expecting the same kind of game coming from Ireland as what they played against Italy. We do
mm,
know Ireland is playing a bit more of a defensive game, kicking a lot more than they used to.
mm.
But I don't know. What do you make, Ray? Do you think both sides just go at this as if it's a World Cup final?
I most certainly do think so, yeah, because there's not only bragging rights. I mean, the Grand Slam is still on for Ireland, and what an achievement that is. And they've already got the Triple Crown, so they've got two matches yet to go. They've got to beat France, which is a home game for them, and then they need to go out and beat Italy, which, in all honesty, shouldn't be the most difficult of tasks for them. That being said, in terms of selection, I do think that I don't know. It seems like the French coaches don't put a lot of emphasis on who wears the 10 jersey. It's rather who wears the 9 jersey, because you see, like
Yeah,
when Thomas Ramos goes off, or when he goes to fullback, then Dupont goes to 10. And when
yeah,
Nolan Le Garrec comes on for 9. So they're really either adamant to keep Dupont on the field for as long as possible, or they just see that the number 10 jerseys might be a bit less significant to them as it is to Ireland, which we all know a 10 is very pivotal for how they play. I mean, we know all the
yeah.
debates between Sam Prendergast, Jack Crowley. We've had this debate multiple times for what happens after Sexton left. Does the attack continue to flow like it used to? So I do think in that regard there's a difference, and there's a big difference in their kicking game. France likes to kick long,
Yeah.
Ireland likes to kick more contestable, but there's a lot of firepower in that Irish side.
I
And
mean, I guess also
I've asked.
just a few things I want to add, obviously, on this game, as there's
Mm,
so much to talk about and to cover. But yeah, I mean, you are completely right in saying I think France, let's just be blunt, plan their game around Depois.
Mm.
And, with the likes of Legary coming off the bench, he can basically shift into 10. Legary is a world-class player,
Yeah.
but the real question is, can Ireland find a way to disrupt Depois? Can they slow it down with their little nasty, tap downs, hands in the ruck, make it dirty and slow? Because on the other hand, Ireland hasn't been the traditional Ireland we've seen over the years playing, let's say, more exciting rugby. They've been playing a lot more defensive in a way. They don't mind kicking it away and
Mm.
actually defending it out. And I mean, that actually, I guess, makes sense with Sammy P, Sam Prendergast in there at the 10 now. He's been doing
Mm.
a phenomenal job. And I mean, look, they've got the manpower to defend it out and then turn around the game. And when they have a turnover, they just go and they hurt you with a cross kick or play it out wide. But yeah, let's not forget France also doing the 7-1 split these days. So that would be interesting
Yeah.
if they do go for that with just Legarik on the bench. But Guri, I mean, we can debate about this all day. Let's assume both sides pick their strongest teams for the
Yeah.
day. What do you think will happen?
Um, wow. It's probably the toughest one to call, but somebody's gonna have to make it. Look, I will go for France just because before this tournament started, they were my
Le
favorites.
Aviva.
Les Bleus. So yeah, they were my favorites to start, well, to win this tournament, before this tournament started. Yes, they dropped the game. But they're very much still in it. And they're 3 points behind Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. So could
Yeah.
could still turn things around. I don't know how about you? You think this is an Irish victory at
Guri, I
home for them?
also actually look, we like to disagree on these things, but I actually have a funny gut feeling about this one. Ireland, they've maybe not been at their best against Wales, but we know France had a terrible game against England and, they had to pay a price. Should they come
Yeah.
out guns blazing, play the best game of their lives, I think they can go and, best game of their tournament, let's say, they can definitely go and cause an upset. But yeah, for the sake of keeping it interesting, I'll back the Irish for their consistency. And I guess just one last question on that. Is Sammy P right now going on the Lions tour?
I almost want to start this episode over. How dare you throw me into such a difficult position? But in terms of experience, maybe no, maybe just too soon. It's not necessary. We have enough good flyers to take on that Lions tour. So I would say no. He just hasn't had
There you
enough
have it,
test.
ladies and gentlemen. He's
Oh,
not done
come
enough for
on.
Goran. But
I
yeah,
knew
I
it.
mean, obviously, that's a
Ah,
debate
that
for another
sucks.
episode. Stay tuned because we will choose our Lions squad at the
Yeah.
end of this tournament. Guri, game number two,
Yep.
probably still a very exciting one. Scotland hosting Wales at Murrayfield. I guess that's
Mm,
also really a massive game, especially for Wales. They're really still trying to turn things around. Well, I don't know. I
mm,
can't keep up anymore. Is it 14, 15? I don't know for how many straight losses they're going now. They looked obviously much improved. Was it really just, like
indeed.
a once-off thing because they changed coaches, like new coach fever, let's
Mm.
say? But what do you make of that game, Guri? Do you reckon Scotland will, just bounce back to winning matches, considering they've actually been fairly strong, or do you think Wales will be able to cause an upset?
Oh, that is a good question.
Bless
Excuse
you,
me,
my friend.
to get rid of some of the bad omens. No, Gabsy, I think honestly that the reason behind Wales's good performance was probably um, due to the fact that the coach also just, the new interim coach rather, he just instructed the team to go out and play and show emotion, show passion to their crowd. And that's exactly what it looked like. It didn't look like a complete performance from their side at all. I mean, they were still playing a relatively, I would say, poor structure towards or executing a poor structure. However, there was heart and there was passion and there was emotion, and that's kind of the very micro details that you need also at test level rugby. So if they can replicate that, I'm not saying they will win, but they will definitely run Scotland close. And Scotland, on the other hand, really do need to prove a point. I mean, they've, in my opinion, been underperforming once again at a Six Nations. They've just not been there where they should be and where they're expected to be, which puts a lot of pressure on Gregor Townsend. And I'm sure that if they lose against Wales, that's it for Gregor Townsend. I'm pretty positive in that light.
Yeah.
Your opinion?
No, I mean, just quickly on Townsend, I agree that he's a phenomenal coach. Look, honestly, I respect the guy and he's done great things with Scotland, but maybe they just need, some fresh blood. It just doesn't seem. Look, that World Cup, they were in the pool of death with South Africa and Ireland. They were never getting out of that pool.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously, like they haven't made it out of the knockouts or out of the pool stages in the World Cup. They've not managed to go past what is it, the third place in the Six Nations. For them to take that next level, maybe fresh blood is necessary. I do think this weekend they will probably come out and really want to prove a point. Obviously, if they go and win with a bonus point, they can still most likely fight for a second place in the bigger scheme of things. But
Mm,
I mean, it will be a tough ask. Obviously, England and France is really right in there. And I think this weekend will be for them a really massive game. They know Wales is out to prove a point. I expect the strongest team possible they can select, the likes of
mm,
King Horn in there. You will probably see Finn Russell, who still needs to step up again
I
if
agree.
he also wants to secure his spot. Hugh Jones has been phenomenal. The
Mm,
forwards has been great. I can't say much on that regard, but I think they need a big game. So I'm going to go with Scotland to win this one comfortably. I do think
mm,
Wales, like you said, they've had that, like, let's say, new coach fever that, that first game back is always like a
mm.
big one. And you see a big
Statement
shift with heart
performance
and
usually.
emotion, statement performance. But yeah, Guri, for me, I'm going to say Scotland by +10 for that one. I think they
Mm.
should do the job at Murrayfield, honestly. And I just can't see how Wales can turn things around so fast.
Do you reckon then someone like Blair Kinghorn would be the player to watch for this game, or you reckon more someone like uh, a Finn Russell or a Rory Darge, or which player for Scotland do you reckon will be the
I mean,
deciding factor?
Rory Dodge and the boys up front is always entertaining. It's always going to be important, going
Mm.
up against the young Welsh guys
Xander
who's really
Fagerson doing
hungry.
great. There's a lot of forwards there,
But I
but
think for me, the person that really still needs to have a big performance, considering they couldn't bring the Calcutta Cup home,
uh,
also because he's had a chance to seal the deal, is going to be Finn Russell. He needs to
mm.
still put one big game in and show that he's ready to be the starting 10 for the
Yeah,
Lions.
absolutely. Agree. Well, if you look at some of the stats, like you mentioned Rory Dodge, right? So he's got 112 attacking ruck arrivals. So basically, when your team has the ball and a ruck has been formed or they've been tackled, his arrival at the ruck has got 112, and the second player is Xander Fagerson for 93. So it just shows you how the
Yeah,
forwards have
his
been.
work rate is, yeah,
Yeah, it's great
immense.
workload. Well, for a prop as well. I mean, geez,
Yeah.
Xander Ferguson. But for the rest, also offloads. Rory Dodge. He's also on the list for 5 offloads. Obviously, the points is exceeding with 9, and Blair Kinghorn on 8. So, I mean, a lot of these Scottish players are kind of ahead on the stats for things like meters carried, as well, meters gained. That's all Blair Kinghorn, man. 500
Yeah,
meters carried, and that's for how many carries? 58, which is by far the most. So I mean, these
yeah.
guys know how to play, but can they put it together? And that's why you need probably someone like Finn
Yeah.
Russell, which you mentioned,
To
because he is the guy that Scotland's performance really uh,
he's Scotland's De Poir, basically. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think we need to, yeah, see it come together for Scotland 100%. And thanks for those interesting stats. I do think those names and those players you could kind of expect to go on the Lions tour. They've
Mm.
definitely done enough, in my opinion. But Guri, checking the time, let's quickly transition into this last game of the weekend. Obviously, England hosting Italy at Twickenham. It's one of the
Italia.
only teams we already have. And I think, for England, it's been this kind of year where in the past they've put in good performances. They've played well,
Hmm.
but they haven't managed to get the results. To be fair, this year, I don't feel like they've been playing that well, but they've been managing to get the results. Yes, they
Mm.
played well against France, but you could argue France was terrible that day. Italy could have beat them. But This year, they managed to put together the results. Now,
Now,
obviously,
what
Jamie
results
George,
are you now talking about? Are you talking about England or are you talking about Italy?
England,
Ah,
England.
England. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the past that like they haven't had the results gone their way. They've
Yeah,
played, in
yeah.
my opinion, they played better. They've played better rugby back then. Like the game against the Springboks, for example, last year. But this year they actually have
They've
the
got the
points on the
results to
log.
show. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got the results to show for it. It's a good question, but what do you owe that to? An increase in then results rather. What is the deciding factor you
I guess
think? It's the coaching.
I guess it's just also kind of in key moments, winning those key penalties, kicking those key penalties,
Mm,
scoring tries, defending, getting a referee not awarding a try, those type of things going your way. But I guess this year is also England's still in it, mate.
they're
Somehow.
definitely still in
Or
it. And I remember, Gabsy, like we used to have this conversation about England in the last 20 minutes of the game where they didn't take control of the scoreboard. They didn't take control or the game at the scruff of the neck, if you want to put it that way. And then they slipped off. Maybe that was with regards to the bench, or maybe that was with regards to leadership in that last 20 minutes. But they seemed to find a solution for that. And in terms of leadership, I mean, now you got Jamie George who's going to start. So we actually know what the England team is. We're going to throw it up for you guys. Tell us what you think about this one. Jamie George playing his 100th test for England at Twickenham. I mean, what a better occasion you won't get, and most probably a
yeah.
win as well, which would be great. Obviously, without any disrespect to Italy. But if you look at that team, I mean, you got Marcus Smith now coming on the bench. A lot of faith still in Finn Smith. I mean, had a hell of a performance when he played against who did they play against last week, Gabs? You help me out, yeah.
You're talking about England.
Yeah, who
What
did
is
they
it? The
play against?
Calcutta 2 weeks
Yeah, of
ago,
course, of
Calcutta
course.
Cup.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Magnificent game there for him once again. And yeah, they just look to be heading like getting their strides well. Forwards playing well. Some gambling of coaching decisions really been paying off. So I think that's what you've been alluding to. Maybe the performance has not been as great, but the results have been coming that way, and that's largely down to leadership, team selection, getting new players in. So yeah, to Steve Borthwick, probably well done on that regard. But it's not over. They got
Yeah.
to beat Italy this weekend, which is going to
Yeah.
be a hell of a game.
Definitely agree. I think the stars really need to align for Italy. Obviously, they want to, bounce back strong, but I don't
Mm,
see them beat England right now. England's got their tail up. They've got the momentum, and they will probably play for Jamie George and his 100th test and everything he's been through
yeah,
last year. So I'm
Italy.
going to say that should be a comfortable win for England. I think, you will see the passion and everything you can expect of Italy, but I don't think
Hey
they can
man,
pull
I've
one
been
out.
very impressed with Italy, bar the last game that they had against France, obviously. But I mean, if you look at like also the stats, once again, yours you got Sebastian Negri with the most tackles made at 50, which is fantastic. Others like line out takes. I mean, their line outs have been operating very well. Ruta with 20. And for the rest, like your top point scorer, who do you think that is?
Probably Tommaso Allen.
Yeah, he's got the most points on the log with 38. Most successful penalty kicks, Tommaso Allen with 10. So I mean, there's
Yeah, I
there's
agree. The
definitely
stats, the stats looks good for Italy, but I don't think this weekend they can do the job at Twickenham. I would obviously be really hoping for them. I don't think they've ever beaten England, so it will obviously be, really a game that goes down in the history books should they win at Twickenham. But
indeed. So
let's
you're
call
going for
it
England on that one then?
prediction. England, England all
Yeah.
day.
Okay. All right.
And you?
No, me too. I don't know why it sounded so.
All right.
Uh, all right, Gabs. Yeah, that seems to be
But
it. And then
yeah.
obviously everyone needs to stay tuned as we are going to select our Lions team pretty soon, or actually a squad. That will be kind of nice. And obviously input from everyone out there listening to the podcast. You guys can listen to it on Spotify, obviously, as well as YouTube, where you guys have been getting our content. And yeah, let us know, please, some interesting topics in terms of selections as well, and then we'll get back to you guys with another great episode. The next one will be a review episode on Spotify. Gabsy, something from you last round?
No, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, thanks for all the love and support. Let us know what you like and what you don't like, and enjoy the rugby.
All right. Cheers, Gabsy. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.